Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Boating Enthusiast. In this video we're going to be designing a basic welding table workbench in SketchUp. So I'll take you through the preliminary drawings and then we're going to move on to the actual designing process in SketchUp. So the basic plan is to design a surface area of 70 by 50 centimeters or 700 by 500 millimeters, as you can see here on the left. This is then followed or put onto a base made of tube, and that tube is 25 millimeters by 25 millimeters, and then flat bar on top to make the actual work surface with space for clamps. And then the flat bar is also going to be used as leg braces to make sure it's nice and sturdy. So let's get to the drawing. So we're in SketchUp right now. This is SketchUp Make. This is 25 by 25 millimeter flat bar. So this is 25 millimeters by 700 millimeters long. Just using push-pull to pull it up to 25 millimeters. Going onto the edge, use the offset tool, 1.5 millimeters wall thickness. Click on that. And let's scroll back. Use the push-pull tool to push the inside out of it essentially. So clicking on the center P for push-pull. All the way to the end. Hold on, I can't see that. There we go, all the way to the end. And now, there we go, we can look right through it. So that is our square tubing, steel tubing, 25 by 25 millimeters, 1.5 millimeter wall thickness. Let's take this entire thing and turn that into a group so that it stays all together so we don't distort the geometry when we're dragging adjacent to it. Let's just get the tape measure out, quickly set it up so that we got the outside edge of 700 millimeters. We're going to use the option copy on Mac. And there we go, push it out so that its outer edge to outer edge is 500 deep, of course. And then it is going to be 700 wide. So just deleting the guideline that I had there from the tape measure. Now option copy it so that we make a duplicate copy and paste of this item. We're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Let's change the view quickly. There we go. Take the inside corner and put it on the inside because we're going to use a very simple butt joint here in order to get it to connect. So that way it's very easy to weld together. I left a piece of geometry behind, but we'll fix that later. Right, now it is, again, we're going to use the scaling tool just on the middle one, so we're going to scale it just in its length, again to the inside of that other square tubing, and that way that's going to be the next place for a butt joint. We're going to option copy it or move, and then with the option selected so that we can create a duplicate. And there we go, now we've got the frame that the legs will attach to on the inside, and the tabletop's going to go on top. But of course we don't want it to sag in the middle. So therefore we're going to option copy or duplicate this square tubing, push it into the middle, so select it in the middle and put it to the midpoint of the side section. Select it, and then we're going to use the push-pull tool to bring it to the inside edge. So now the length is shorter, so again there's another two butt joints there, one right, one left. And this is now the entire square. Let's get rid of that. So this is the rectangle, not a square, apologies, and this is the base for the tabletop. We're going to turn that into a group so we don't mess with that, and then we can move on to the next part. Right, so of course hollow square tubing, as you all know, just taking a good look around, make sure nothing is out of place, and that is all good to go. Just taking a tape measure, double checking, this is 500. And that is 700, like you would do with metalworking. I like to applying the same techniques here when I'm drawing to make sure it's all actually correct. Let's shift this out the way so we can use the origin, that intersection point of the three axes here. Now we're going to take the flat bar, which is 30 millimeters wide, and of course in the length of the actual welding table, which is 500. And I'm just putting the thickness in here. And I've set that to 3 millimeters. Let's just quickly do double check and make that a component. In other words, if we edited it, it will edit all copies of this. And we're just going to give this a quick appropriate name. So flat bar, that will go on the top. No, let's not go that by dimension. So flat bar top. And the description is that it is of course 500 millimeters long. It is 30 millimeters wide, and actually this is 4 millimeters thick. Did I give that 3 or 4 millimeters? No, it's 4 millimeters. So I think we should just double check with the tape measure whether I did that correctly. I think I may have only made that 3 millimeters. Let's have a look. Yeah. So we need to add with push-pull. We're going to add 1 millimeter here on top. So drag it up, type in 1 millimeter, push enter. And now that's 4 millimeters. That is excellent. So now that it's ready, and because it's a component, if we mess with it later, then that actually means that we can just add it on top, like you see here, for when we're ready. But we're not going to do that yet, because we want to do the table legs, and it's easier to attach them when it's upside down. I personally find that. So I'm going to take this square tubing that we got there, copy and paste, take something out of it, and then we're going to select this entire thing and also make that a component, because we want the table legs. In case I decide the height is not quite right, we can always change all 4 table legs in one go. So I've just rotated it quickly. And this, of course, is now the same length as the side of the table, which is only 700. I want this table to be 900 high, because that is a comfortable height for standing, and it is also a comfortable height for sitting if you've got to really want to be close up with your eyes when you're welding or doing fine work. So I'm going to add an extra 200 millimeters to that. So 200 and enter. And there we go. Now there's 1 table leg. Now, because that is a component, if we change it in one place, it will change all the incidences or occurrences of this. So now it grabbed it by the corner, put it in the corner, and we did that with option copy, so it creates a duplicate of the item we've selected. Same thing here, midpoint, so the edge to the edge. We'll pop that in there, let it snap into place. Here we go, now doing this properly, there we go. And the same into the other corners. Now, of course, I could select both of these legs, option copy it, drag it by the corner, and move them both over in one go. But I filled about a bit here, so there we go. Right, so now we're going to do the move function with M, grab it by the corner, and then slide it all over in one go. But you could also do that individually if you preferred. So there we go. Legs are attached, the 4 legs. It looks a bit odd now, but this is a bit of a combo between a standing and a sitting kind of welding table workbench, because you don't want to bend down the entire time, but you also don't want to have to stand if it's going to be a lengthy welding process. Right, so this is all one group now. That way, whatever we do with the tabletop and so on is not going to be messed with when we start moving stuff about. Right, so rotate all the way around 180 degrees, and then we're going to rotate the entire thing. I just had to get it out the way because I wanted to make sure that I can put this at the actual origin. No, I didn't do that right. Let's try that again. Select the item, stick it in the corner. Right, so there's the preview of the welding table frame. Now that, of course, you know, is the component, which is the flat bar that goes on top. And we're going to now make the sides, because I want some side support. So I copied and pasted that. And now I'm going to rotate that on its side, because I want to make some braces for stability purposes, because otherwise, of course, these legs are a little bit wobbly. Nope, that's not the correct side. Let's do that again. There we go. Now I'm getting it right. So we want to turn it to the side first so that it can go onto the long side, and then we're going to rotate this once we've actually stopped messing about in the menu. So there we go. So we're going to make this unique, because otherwise, if we mess with the flat bar we just had, which is the same for the tabletop, then of course it's just going to mess with the flat bar. We don't want that. So we explode it, we select it all, we make that a group. There we go. I'm not going to make that a component because there's only 2 sidebars that I'm going to use, so therefore that's not really going to be helpful. Right, now that we've finished messing with that, we can put the tabletop on, or in this case the flat bar with the spacers, so we can use them as clamps. So align the edges, there we go. I might not like it like that later when I actually build it, but we'll see how it goes. Now option copy, we take the right bottom edge, option copy, pop it into the edge, and now all we're going to do is to divide and then add a number. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I didn't actually measure it. I'm just going to try it, add an extra one, see how it looks. There we go, one more. That's quite a bit of spacing. There we go, one more. There we go. That seems to look quite nice. Let's see how big that actually is. And that is in the 20s somewhere, so 25, 28 millimeters, which is a good spacing. That means you can get the head of a clamp around there. And that might not turn out to be as practical as I thought, but this is the design exercise for now. So when I actually build it and I don't like it, well, then I'll just change it. Okay, so we got the side brace that we, the flat bar we're going to use as a side brace. So therefore I just turn that so it's upright, take the bottom left inner corner, and then we're going to line that up. There we go, that place seems about right. And obviously it's not quite long enough. So because it's a group, we click into the group, we can use push-pull, we align that all the way to the end, and that way we have a brace. Now I know that when I'm sitting, that I need to be over 600 millimeters from the floor in order to be able to use a standard height chair and get my knees still under the table, so I don't have to sit in a weird posture. So right now I just estimated where I think it should go. Then we're going to measure it. And we're going to see this is up to 623 millimeters, which I think that'll do, so I'm just going to keep it there. Because again, this doesn't have to fit under particular furniture. I just wanted it to be able to be that I can get my knees under it. So there I did move, but I forgot to push the option button. So now that I've moved it all the way over, I'm going to have to do option copy from the other side. So let's do that. And of course, the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice I did put that not actually on the outside, but into the actual table legs. And that of course is not right. So we're going to just quickly move that and shift it out a little bit so it's mounted onto the surface of the square tubing, because we don't want to cut out the square tubing. That's just wasted effort. We can just weld that to the outside of it. Okay, made another copy and paste of that flat bar. Now we're going to rotate it so by another 90 degrees, and that's going to be the side brace. So get up to it, pick it up with move on the inside corner, or the inside edge. It's not really a corner. Now we're going to line that up with the other flat bar on top, create a nice little frame. On the other side, of course, it will overhang because this is 700 long, not 500. We're going to go into the group. That's why it's gray. Line it up with the edge. There we go. And that also gives a chance to between the two flat bars where they meet up, where I can just put a nice weld bead in there, which is going to round that over nicely and also take away any sharp edges. And then I can just finish that off with the angle grinder. So option copy, so move and copy over, drag it over, line up the edges. I should have grabbed this on the inside edge here, but this works anyway. And there we go. So now we got braces right around on top, which is above my knees when I'm sitting and not in the way when I'm standing. Can also use that up to hang up some clamps and so forth. And I think we need a bit more stability in the whole thing, because these legs, of course, are over 600 millimeters from the bottom of that flat bar to the ground. So I'm going to option copy or move copy. I like calling it option copy because on Mac you push the option button, and I'm thinking around 60 odd millimeters from the bottom should probably be all right. So let's take it and move it down. Let me just get a good view here. There we go, inside corner. There we go, option button, or control, I think it is on a Windows computer. There we go, roughly to the line I marked earlier. There we go. And now we're going to slide it over. Of course, take the outside edge here, which becomes the inside edge on the other side. There we go, on the red axis, so it's directly in line. There we go, lined it up. Should have really grabbed it on the other edge, but never mind. And then here we go. That is a preliminary workbench welding table design. And let's just delete the lines here. And there we go. Table is sort of done. Let's get some dimensions on there quickly. So it's 700. And on this side, edge to edge, that of course is 500. Pull that out so you can actually see it. And then The height here is 900, so therefore it is a good standing height. Excellent, and that's the welding table.